Alright, part 81, guys. Alright, this is a copy of The Rise of Big Business Guided Notes. So, this is a corporations, I should say. Who owns corporations? What are the benefits of a corporation? How do corporations impact smaller businesses? Andrew Carnegie. What does it mean to use vertical integration? What is the benefit of using vertical integration? J.D. Rockefeller. What does it mean to use horizontal integration? What is the benefit of using horizontal integration? Monopoly. What is a monopoly? Are monopolies good or bad for consumers? Why is that? Answer your comments below. The last video I made, that part 80 was kind of short. It's kind of like about it was like it was recorded at like almost 17 minutes now. It was like recorded for like 17 minutes, but I should have like made it more longer if I have to. But this time I am gonna make it longer. But I mean, what was I thinking? Video questions: what is a mineral? Okay, so what is a simple basic definition of minerals? Where do we find minerals? Where is the mineral gypsum commonly found? Where is the mineral graphite commonly found? What is the first serita of a mineral? What is the second serita of a mineral? What is the third serita of a mineral? Is the third serita always true? What is the fourth serita of a mineral? What is the fifth serita of a mineral? Why is diorite rock not a mineral? Why is the ice a mineral? What is the specific atomic structure? What does the internal arrangement of the atom's mineral cause? What do graphite and diamond have in common? How are graphite and diamond are different? Part 81, guys. Part 81. 81. 81. Sorry. I might be very tired today. I mean, I don't know why I'm doing this either, but it's what I'm going to do right now. A copy of the teen labor law. Why is the army load? I don't understand. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna let the text to speech do the arrangement for me. This will help me to get to um, assignment. Use the knowledge is power document below to create your own brochure about teen labor laws. This is an individual assignment. You'll have 2 days to class to work on this assignment. What are teen labor laws for Indiana? Ages, wages, what's legal and what's not. Our work will work permits and hours for each age. His hazardous occupations, job interviewing, discrimination. Consideration size. It is intended so be a quick read. It should fold into an interesting yet uncomplicated way. So, cover. This cover should indicate the subject of a document. Usually, the front cover contains the title of the illustration or photo or logo. Text. Text should be easy to read, highlighting main points by using a larger, bolder type. Details should be in smaller type and may be bulleted. Photos. Use photographs for illustrations to complement the text. The FAB, features and benefits. Tell the reader what will benefit them. Layout. Make a design appealing. Use color and spacing. Don't clutter. Brochure evaluation. This was made for PCC class. Student name. Use the following rating scale to evaluate the presentation's content. Delivery and visuals. 5 superior. 4 good and 3 average, or 2 below average, or 1 progressing. Content should cover at least 3 of the following categories. I am going to I am going to put this for rest of the um, all right, for additional information, write and call Indiana Department for Labor and Wage in our division, Warrior for Child Labor, room in West Washington Street, Indianapolis for in. I'm not gonna tell you this, okay? Don't be discouraged if you don't get the first job you interviewed for, because there may be an even like better job just around the corner. Every like one time or another will be turned down and should not give up. So I'm like, all right, let's get started. Ages, wages, what's legal or what's not. Work permits, hours for each age, hazardous or occupations, job interviewing or discrimination. Design, overall design is easy to use and manage, i.e., fold in size. The design is not cluttered. The cover is pleasing to the eye. The cover gives the topic. The cover entices the reader to explore more. Text and photos. Text is easy to read. Photos are clear and appealing. This is so common and totaling. Alright, let's get started.
Ages, wages, what's legal, what's not, work permits, hours for each age, hazardous occupations, job interviewing, discrimination, design. Overall design is easy to use and manage, that is, fold in size. The design is not cluttered. The cover is pleasing to the eye. The cover gives the topic. The cover entices the reader to explore more. Text and photos. Text is easy to read. Photos are clear and appealing. Total. Comments.
Knowledge is power. Thinking of the job, know your rights. Hopefully, she'll be able to read that for me. All right, please tell me that you're gonna, um, knowledge is power. Thinking of a job, know your rights. Most people just get jobs like while still in high school. I clearly don't. I have to wait until I graduate college or so. That's what most people plan to do.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Thinking of a job? Know your rights. Knowledge is power, and as a working teenager in Indiana, you need to know you have certain types of protection on the job. For example, you can only be asked to work at certain times of the day, and there is a limit to the number of days you can be asked to work. Also, there are some jobs considered hazardous, and you cannot perform work of that kind. Here are some job criteria that you should know. 1. You must be at least 14 years of age to work in Indiana, and you must have a work permit obtained from your high school. You don't have to be at least 14 or get a work permit if you are a newspaper carrier, a caddy on a golf course, a domestic worker in a private residence, an entertainer, or are at least 12 years old working as a farm laborer. 2. You can hold two work permits simultaneously, at the same time, as long as your employment does not extend past the work hour restrictions for your age. 3. Issuing officers at your high school may refuse to issue or may revoke a work permit if your grades and/or attendance do not meet your school corporation's standards. 4. Issuing officers will not issue a work permit for any minor to work in any of the hazardous occupations. Your employer is responsible for knowing and complying with the law. However, you should be familiar with the law in order to protect your rights. Wages. Minimum wage. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 per hour. Under some circumstances, students can be paid less than minimum wage in retail, agriculture, and institutions for higher education.
I
Employers
should
must have a
use.
certificate from the U.S. Department of Labor authorizing sub-minimum wages. But what about
Okay, so I gotta stop you right here. I gotta stop you right here. I have a question. So most people have a question about how old do you have to be? How old do you have to be originally to work? You have to be at least 12 years old to do some farm stuff like what she said. Okay, so what it has been explained. So so if I've been asked to babysit all the time for Danielle's kids. Danielle Simpson's my aunt, my ever aunt. She asked me to babysit Annalie, who was like a 4 year old, and Lennon was like a 2 year old, and Ava for a 6 year old, and Bailey a 7 year old. Danielle has three kids: Lyndon, Annalie, and Ava. They're both adorable, um, and uh, and I had to babysit that boy that likes me a lot is Owen. Owen trusts me a lot. Yes, he's my man. He's like I think he's like 9 or 10 years old. I can't remember. I think he's like 9 or 10 years old. I can't remember honestly. He might be nine. Not sure. What about babysitting? That's an exception. Never federal or nor state minimum wages allows to apply to babysitting. You have to be paid to babysit people. Um, you have to, if you're a family member, you have to give the babysitter the money so she can or he or she can babysit your kids. That's how it works for the law. Okay, um, that's what that's what babysitting is all about. For the introduction, if you guys don't know.
Babysitting. That's an exception. Neither the federal nor the state minimum wage laws apply to babysitting. You can be paid whatever rate you and your customers agree to. What if you
Like
work in a
many
restaurant?
monies.
If you are a server in a restaurant, your base pay under federal minimum is $2.13 per hour, and under state it is $2.01 per hour, but your pay must still equal minimum wage when your tips are included. If you do not make enough in tips to equal minimum wage, then the employer must make up the difference by increasing your base pay. Off the clock work, when an employer asks you to work and does not pay you for that time worked, it is called off the clock work. For
Yeah.
example, if you are required to come to work early or stay late and you are not paid for this time, then you are working off the clock. Off the clock work is illegal.
Is illegal. When an employer asks you to work off the books, the employer means he or she is not going to report your employment to the federal and state governments. It also means you may not be covered by a worker's compensation, disability insurance, or social security. It has like a dignity of your that should be never be compromised. It should never be compromised by any way. Is that thing going on? Okay, so it also means that you may not be covered by workers' compensation. Remember, your labor has value, dignity that should never be compromised. You have the right to be paid at least a minimum wage, to work in a safe environment, and to be protected by various governmental programs. The taxes you pay when you work is legally or nothing compared with the benefits you lose when you work other books. Legal deductions. Um, Deductions from your paycheck must be taken legally. Some, like the federal and state taxes, are legal. Other deductions must be authorized in writing, signed by you, agreed to be the employer, and delivered to be employer within 10 days of written authorization in order to be legal. Under this set of guidelines, and deductions for the following reasons are permissible, such as these things. All right, so I don't know what happened, but there we go. I was worried about it. It's not gonna work. Hold on, guys. My thing's not working. I don't know why.
Legal
Very
deductions. Deductions from your paycheck must be taken legally. Some, like federal and state taxes, are legal. Other deductions must be authorized in writing, signed by you,
definitely.
agreed to be the employer, and delivered to the employer within 10 days of the written authorization in order to be legal. Under the set of guidelines, deductions for the following reasons are permissible, such as insurance, company stock, loans made by employer, mutual funds, charitable contributions, union dues, pension or medical plans, credit union payments, U.S. savings bonds, merchandise, life insurance,
And
uniforms.
uniforms.
If you believe an illegal deduction has been taken from your paycheck, contact the Indiana Department of Labor. Work permits. In order to obtain a work permit, you must: Step 1. Go to your high school issuing officer and request an intent to employ card. Step 2. Take the intent to employ card to your prospective employer and have him or her complete it. Sign the intent to employ card yourself, and have your parent or legal guardian sign it. Step 3. Take the completed intent to employ card back to the issuing officer, along with your birth certificate, and obtain your work permit. Step 4. Take the completed work permit, with its attached termination notice, to your prospective employer, who must keep it on file as long as you work there. Hours. As a working teenager, you can only work certain hours of the day, and depending upon your age group, a limited number of hours per week. If you work illegal hours, you can report that violation to the Indiana Department of Labor, and you may do so confidentially. 14 to 15-year-olds restrictions. 3 hours on school days. 18 hours per week on a school week. Labor Day to June 1st, no work before 7 a.m. or after 7 p.m. June 1st to Labor Day, no work before 7 a.m. or after 9 p.m., 7 p.m. if followed by a school day. 8 hours per day on a non-school day. 40 hours per week on a non-school week. 16 and 17-year-olds restrictions. 8 hours per day. 40 hours per week. 9 hours per day during summer vacation only with written person consent on file with employer. No work before 6 a.m. No more than 6 work days per week. 16-year-olds restrictions. No work after 10 p.m. on nights followed by a school day, until midnight on nights not followed by a school day only with written parental consent on file with employer. 17-year-olds restrictions. No work later than 11:30 p.m. on nights followed by a school day. Later than 11:30 p.m. not more than 2 nights per week and with written parental consent on file with employer. The 2 nights per week cannot be consecutive. Hazardous occupations. There are some jobs that teenagers cannot work because they are hazardous. If you are asked to perform any of the following jobs for your age group, you should refuse because they are in violation of the law. If you have performed any of these jobs, please call the Indiana Department of Labor. Your call will be confidential. 14 and 15-year-olds may not manufacture or mine, process fish, poultry, nuts, and the like. Work in commercial laundries and or dry cleaners. Work in areas where manufacturing, mining, or processing is taking place. Work for a public messenger service. Work with hoisting apparatus or operate any power-driven machinery. Transport persons or property. Warehouse
Yep.
and store. Work in communications and public utilities. Work in construction, including repair. The following may not be performed in a retail, food service, or gasoline establishment. Work in or around boiler or engine rooms. Maintenance or repair of the establishment, machines, or equipment. Outside window washing involving work from window sills, and all work requiring the use of ladders, scaffolds or the like. Cooking, except at soda fountains, lunch counters, snack bars, or cafeteria serving counters if in full view of the public, and baking. Any work associated with power-driven food slicers and grinders, food choppers and cutters, and bakery-type mixers. Freezer and meat cooler work and all work in preparation of meats for sale, except wrapping, sealing, labeling, weighing, pricing, and stocking when performed in other areas. Loading and unloading goods to and from trucks, railroad cars, or conveyors. Work in relation to warehousing except office and clerical work. 16 and 17-year-olds may not manufacture and store explosives, drive vehicles, or be an outside helper. Do any mining, including coal mining. Work in a sawmill or be a logger. Operate power-driven woodworking machines. Be exposed in any way to radioactive substances. Operate power-driven metal forming, punching, and shearing machines, hoisting apparatus, paper products machines. Meat pack, process, render or slaughter. Operate power-driven circular saws, bandsaws and guillotine shears. Work at wrecking, demolition, and ship-breaking operations. Work on roofing operations or excavation operations. No minor may serve or handle alcoholic beverages, and minors under 17 years of age may not be employed where the principal business in the sale of alcoholic beverages. This is not a detailed list. For further information, please contact the Indiana Department of Labor of the U.S. Department of Labor. Also, there are exemptions from bullets 5, 9, 10, 12, 14, and 16 above for the 16 and 17-year-olds enrolled in a vocational education program when certain conditions are met. Job interviewing. The following are some interview tips for you to consider. Do be positive and polite. Do dress appropriately. For an office job, wear office-type dress clothes. For a restaurant job, wear nice casual wear. Always be neat and clean. Don't wear a t-shirt with words on it, or wear a hat. Do bring your social security card and a driver's license if you have one. Do remember that you have experience. Even watching younger brothers and sisters shows responsibility. Also, your school clubs and organizations can provide you with organizational skills and leadership abilities that can be applied to a job. Don't be discouraged if you don't get the first job you interviewed for, because there are maybe an even better job just around the corner. Everyone, one time or another, will be turned down and should not give up. Discrimination. If you feel you have been discriminated against on the basis of age, only if you are over 40, race, color, religion, national origin, gender, or disability, call the Equal Opportunity Commission at 1.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right here. So job interviewing. The following are some of the interview tips for you to consider. Pardon me, sorry. Do be positive and polite. Ask politely and answer politely. You should always be polite. Obviously, you should always be polite. You should always be respectful. You should always be respectful of relationships. Using the 3 R's at my school. Do dress appropriately. No curse words. No curse words on T-shirts. Um, no uh, no random T-shirts. Just to wear clothes. Just for an office job, wear office type of dress code clothes. Always be neat and clean. Don't get them dirty. Do not wear a hat. Do not wear a T-shirt with words on it. Do not bring your camera while you're doing a job. Do bring your social security card and driver's license if you have one. I would rather get a job after college because I know that most people do job interviewing, but I'm not. But I'm not. I'm not even ready for it, honestly. I don't know. I'm just not. Even though, I was gonna plan to get a job around I remember that guy in Subway, and back in September of 2018, while I was getting a Subway sandwich, and that guy was really really nice. I forgot what his name is, but he asks about my age was, and I told him I was, and I said, um, okay, so that this was back from September of 2018. I was getting a sandwich, and I was 15 years old when I met this guy. When I met this guy, and he seems pretty nice, and he was like, you should work here. You're awesome. You're the best guy in the whole wide world, and people like you should work here. You can do all the work all you want, but I didn't. because I cannot drive that far. I can't even drive. Okay, so I have three reasons. I cannot drive. I cannot drive all the way back there just to. I had to work in a different subway to. I have to work in a different situation to get my permit. Second, I I don't have time because I don't have time to do all this stuff because I won't be able to make any videos for you. I won't be able to make any videos for you guys or post on Instagram or Snapchat. That's why I like staying at home, going out with my friends to keep myself in company. My YouTube is my job. YouTube is my job, honestly. And third, okay, so whenever you have to I don't usually feel like I help around a house and I don't have I'm not ready for that job yet. I'm not ready for a job yet at like um when I back in 2018 I didn't even work. I did not work. I don't even work. I don't even have a car and I don't even have the ability. But I am still scared of driving too because I will be able to drive around in college time, maybe when I'm like 19 or so, or 19 or 20 could be one of those things. But I'm not the only one who doesn't drive. But I mean, it's all above. Just don't be discouraged if you have any questions. Let the people know. Let your worker know that you have to that you have questions about. So, all right. So have a good night, and I'll be able to see you guys. I'll see you guys in a part 83 or 82. Can't remember.